All right, so the biggest news in EOS this week by far is yet another EOS VC announcement. So if you're here, this is your first episode, you don't know what EOS VC is. It is a $1 billion, yes, billion with a B, dApp fund that's designed entirely just to fund EOS dApp. So if you're out there, you're building a dApp, you want to run it on EOS, EOS VC could potentially fund you. But we just got the most recent funding announcement, a project that they've said, hey, we're going to fund, which is actually a bank. So EOS VC, this is coming from Galaxy Digital, run by Mike Novogratz, one of the EOS VC partners, just came out and said, hey, we're putting a combined $30 million into Good Money, which is a new online banking platform that the people who deposit into the bank actually own. So if I go there, I deposit some money into the bank, I will get at least one share of equity, real equity in the bank. So I own it. I'm entitled to, determine what happens with the profits. And they're really trying to make a bank that's actually owned by the people who use the bank rather than just a few people at the top. So it's a pretty interesting concept, and I think has some, pretty broad implications for how it disrupts, the banking space.
I thought it was super interesting. So first of all, you could visit them at goodmoney.com. They already have a waiting list. I already signed up. I recommend all of you do too. But yeah, like Rob said, it's almost like with most banks, they take a percentage of the money that they have in it, and they'll invest their profits into other businesses. Like petroleum is the example they give on the Good Money website. But with Good Money, what happens is it's a profit distribution between the stakeholders in the banking platform, and that would be the users like you and me. And then 50% of the profits goes to like green, like organic, sustainable causes. So 50% of the profits go to the equity holders of the bank, and 50% of the profits are going to go to really good causes like green energy, or I don't have any examples of what those things would be at the moment, but it sounds super cool.
Yeah.
Like there's so limited information about it right now, but I obviously dug into their website to prepare for this podcast. And some of the interesting things I saw was it has a 2% yield, and it says it's FDIC insured. So there's a lot of stuff that's already happened before this announcement. This isn't some spring chicken. Like this could be, like we look at Warbly as being a fiat on-ramp, and we don't know which chain Good Money is going to be on, whether it's on the mainnet, on Warbly, on its own chain. But it looks like they already have some sort of banking integrations if they have the FDIC insurance. And then if you go on their website, they also have, it says no ATM fees. So if there's no ATM fees, that means there must be an ability to use your account with an ATM, right?
Yeah, that's exciting. I mean, the potential here is kind of, it's really crazy if you think about it. So not only are they coming in, they're shaking things up in the banking model. They're giving you 2% interest in a savings account, which is like 10, 20, 30 times more than you're going to get in the average account you open at some, too big to fail bank. But what's also cool about this is, I mean, they can extend, the control of the equity holders, which I imagine will be tokens on some kind of EOS blockchain. They can extend that to so many other things. They could say, hey, vote on this new mobile wallet design, vote on our new CEO or our board of directors or whatever. They can really give control of this bank to the people if they wanted to. So I'm super excited to see what happens with it. I think it's going to be awesome.
Interesting you mentioned that, because that's actually the utility of this equity token is it gives you voting rights for the sustainable causes that the profits are redistributed to. So whenever I'm talking about these green energy type like sustainable environment projects or companies, the token holders who are equity owners in this online bank are the ones who determine where that money actually goes.
That's awesome.
You play an active role in who is being funded by this bank.
Oh, absolutely. And I just signed up while you were talking about it. I jumped on the wait list because, I don't like banks. I still don't trust banks. I'll maybe trust this a little bit more than I trust other banks, but that's not saying much. But at the end of the day, everybody, whether you're in crypto or not, you still need a bank account to transact. My rent, the place I pay rent to, they don't take EOS for my rent. So I need to cash out to a bank account so that I can pay expenses and things like that. But to have a bank that is not only, on EOS in some way where I could vote, maybe I get a little profit from it, but in addition to that, to have a bank that is bullish on crypto, that accepts crypto, is something that I think the entire crypto community will be thrilled about. Because occasionally, your account can get shut down if you're transacting in crypto and you can't prove the exact source of income. They get a little freaked out with money laundering and things like that. And, you're a Bank of America or something, and they'll close down your account. But I can't imagine Good Money, if they're running on a blockchain, would ever close your account for transacting in crypto. And even they could build in their own crypto custody service in the future. So if you wanted to store Bitcoin with them, don't recommend it. But if you wanted to, maybe you could, and that could actually bring people who wouldn't otherwise be in crypto into crypto just through this new banking platform. I'm
super curious to see future messaging coming out of Good Money, because I'm almost certain they're a U.S. Based company. I'm 100% certain actually that they're U.S. based. So I'm assuming that their customer base will also be U.S. based. So I'm just curious to see how this is all going to work with like the AML KYC type thing. That's like kind of the unique thing that Worbly's doing, is all of their users are completely KYC verified, and that's why they're able to interact with the finance. They're supposed to be like the financial district of EOSIO, because they're able to interact with traditional finance companies.
I think this would be a good test for Worbly. I think they're definitely not required to build on Worbly like some people have been saying, because they can just put KYC at the dApp level and say, hey, in order to sign up for the bank, you need to go through KYC. But to your point, with Worbly already having built in KYC, it would be easier for them to onboard customers, I think, when they're already approved and they know who they are. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, so that's big news. So that came out, and if you remember, I think it was last week I mentioned it, that at the hackathon in San Francisco, Novogratz himself was kind of teasing that they had multiple announcements coming out. And 2 or 3 weeks ago, we saw the Mythical Games announcement, which was huge. And watch back, I think, episode 36 to see that. That was awesome. And then now, 2 weeks later, we're seeing a freaking online bank.
Yeah, and this is something like, I know Block One set out to decentralize everything, but I thought it would be a while until we got a bank that was actually owned by the people that deposited the bank. So this is way above what I ever expected to see, especially this early.